Just when it felt like the Raptors were potentially turning the corner on their season, they've been hit by another devastating injury, this time to Scottie Barnes. So in this video, we'll investigate what it really means for the team going forward and potentially for the rest of the season. Let's get into it. This is Amateur Sports, the YouTube channel dedicated to Toronto Raptors content. So drop a like if you enjoy this video and subscribe for more content just like it. And hey, shop the merch with the link at the top of the description to support the channel even more and get some dope stuff in return. But there's no good news coming from today's video here. Again, no better word to describe it. It is a devastating injury to Scottie Barnes that was suffered in the recent loss to the New York Knicks. Scottie Barnes fell awkwardly, colliding with Karl-Anthony Towns. His right foot landed on Towns' foot. Very much looked like the ankle twisted, and as Scottie Barnes hit the ground, he said he could not feel his foot. Immediately, it didn't look good. He got up, could not put any pressure on the foot. We're still waiting for a lot of the details surrounding the severity of the injury, but Scottie Barnes was seen at practice in a walking boot, and it's pretty apparent that he is going to miss some time here. We don't know exactly what that time frame is going to be. I don't really want to speculate, and I wish I could have waited a little bit longer to make this video so that I could have the full scope of the injury before commenting on it, but based on my schedule, this was the best time that I could record, so we're going to go with the information that we have here. Look, we saw the injury. It doesn't look good. He's going to miss a number of weeks here, and the Raptors in their current position, they're not going to be taking any chances with this injury. I kind of see the way Bruce Brown's injury is being treated, where they are really waiting until this guy's 100%. Now, maybe that's a bit different because for Bruce Brown, they have a trade on their mind. They want to trade him by the trade deadline, which is like less than 2 months away now. The season is flying by here, but they're not going to take chances with Scottie Barnes here. The reality of the season is kind of starting to settle in. I know I keep kind of like flip-flopping from video to video here, but I truly believed after the 2-game win streak against 2K, that's where we're at. Oh my God, a 2-game win streak. But I truly believed after beating the Miami Heat and beating the Indiana Pacers, it was like, okay, the Raptors, like when they're at home, this team can compete. This team can win some games. But then they had a pretty defining 3-game stretch as part of the 5-game homestand where they were playing. And I mentioned this before this 3-game stretch. I said, this could really define what they want to be this season. They played the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Dallas Mavericks, and the New York Knicks. 3 teams in which the Raptors were going to be like decently sizably underdogs. They were 10.5-point underdogs against the Thunder. I think they were like 7.5 underdogs against the Mavericks, similar against the New York Knicks. It was a defining part of the season for me in these early stages, which would indicate exactly like where the Raptors could go this year. And unfortunately, like they just did not rise up to the occasion. I know the first game against the Thunder, Jakob Poeltl was injured. I kind of want to throw that one out, but really showcased in that Dallas game that like they just will struggle to compete in a lot of these games against the better teams. Now, against the Knicks, they had to compete. They played really well. They lost a close one in the end. Perhaps if Barnes is playing, things are different, but perhaps if he's playing, things aren't different. Like how many games this season have the Raptors been in tight games late and faltered? They very rarely do come through in those instances. So even if Barnes was playing the rest of the game, would it have gone different? I don't know. Probably not, but obviously had a better chance to go the way of the Raptors. But regardless, I called it a pretty defining 3-game stretch of the season. I hated to put like such a big tag on it, but that's certainly what it felt like to me coming off of those 2 wins. But losing 3 in a row, yeah. I called that Oklahoma City Thunder loss humbling, and I think the 3-game stretch as a whole was humbling. And again, to make matters worse, the Raptors are going to be without Scottie Barnes for an extended period of time. Like, it is just such a shame. So disappointing. I mean, for Barnes, like, think about the injury track record here. People calling him injury prone, people complaining about the injury prone nature of Scottie Barnes at the moment. But like, think about these injuries, like the freak nature of the injuries he's getting. Like last season, he gets kicked in the hand, fractures some knuckles. Like, that is unavoidable. That is so unlucky. Earlier this year, he fractures, I forget the technical term, but fractured something in his eye by getting poked in the eye. Like, how could anybody possibly avoid that? Like, the player who suffers the least amount of injuries ever, like if they get poked in the eye and something fractures, like they're going to miss some time. There's nothing they can do about that. And in this instance here, going up for a rebound, lands on Karl-Anthony Towns' foot. Again, that could happen to anybody here. But again, it's just so disappointing because Barnes came back from that eye injury and was playing so well, like such good basketball. So much so that even amidst like some of these losses here, you were getting outrageous stat lines from Scottie Barnes. It was as if on a night-to-night basis, he had the potential to go get a triple-double. And his presence was making R.J. Barrett play better, and just the team around him was playing better. R.J. Barrett had a lot less of the workload on offense. He could be more selective with his shots. His efficiency, which I talked about in a video like 2 weeks ago, saying like, okay, RJ's efficiency is alarmingly low. Is this something we should worry about? Maybe, but let's also see what it looks like when Barnes returns. And then look, Barnes returned. You had a lot more of the usage going Barnes' way. You had the playmaking Barnes could provide and the space that it affords to R.J. Barrett. And all of a sudden, R.J. Barrett's looking like the guy he was last season for the Raptors as well. So, big loss in many respects. You don't get, as a fan, you don't get to watch Scottie Barnes. You don't get Barnes those development reps. And you don't get Barnes out there making the team around him better. But on top of all of that, the team is fundamentally worse. The team is objectively worse as a result. And the Raptors are hitting a good point in the season where they have some more days off and they're playing some easier teams in this stretch. But like the tough games will just continue to come for this team. And like the reality of a 7-18 record really needs to start settling in here. So, if you ask me last week before the Barnes injury, and I spoke about it in a video, I was saying, look, this team is competing, and it's pretty clear that when they're healthy, this is definitely a team capable of the minimum being a play-in tournament team. I think we need to kind of pump the brakes in the tank talk here because it's clear that this team has ability, but man, did this injury just deflate everything that the Raptors had starting to build momentum. It feels like this injury has seriously deflated things. And if there weren't serious conversations, I don't think there would have been. I think they still would have been putting the team out to be successful. And there wouldn't have been conversations coming from the front office down to the management, down to the coaching, and down to the players of a possibility of a tank and that sort of thing. But at this point, especially once there's confirmation about the severity of the injury, again, it doesn't look good. Not being able to put pressure on it, not being able to feel your foot after suffering the injury, wearing a walking boot. Maybe by the time this video comes out, there's more information about the timeline for this injury. But seriously, yeah, at this point, it's depressing to say it. But at this point, certainly, there has to be some serious conversations regarding the best course of action for the team this season. And part of that is going to be tanking. So, if that's resting guys, maybe like second night of a back-to-back, rest some guys. Maybe that's not rushing players back from injury. Like, okay, let's wait till they are seriously 100%. And maybe that means starting to shop around some of the veteran players on the team. See what's out there for, of course, Bruce Brown. See what's out there for Chris Boucher. But do the conversations go beyond those guys? Does it trickle down to a player like Jakob Poeltl? There's going to be some conversations surrounding that. I'm not sure, but I think that the preparations, look, maybe not start, I would never say that the team should be out there trying to lose games, but you can make it harder for your teams to win games at certain points based on the personnel you have available. So, again, whatever preparations need to be made for a potential tank, I think those need to start being put into action here. I hate saying it. I would love to say that this team can continue to be competitive. And look, it's been very ethical so far. They've kept it close in a lot of games. They fight to the end, down by 20 plus to the Mavericks. They still fought back and made it a close game in the end. Ultimately, they don't get over the line. You can still do that. But yeah, I hate to say it, but it seems like now is the time where it's really starting to hit that, okay, being competitive maybe isn't the best thing for the team this season. And looking at the caliber of players in that 2025 draft class kind of puts the nail in the coffin on where the Raptors could be heading this season. And it's just a shame that this team can't be healthy. And hopefully we get a glimpse of it one day of what this team looks like when everybody is healthy and playing good ball. But it really doesn't look like we're going to get that this season. I haven't even mentioned the fact that Emmanuel Quickley's barely played it all this season. He still remains out with that elbow injury. That's like at least a week away, maybe even more. Not a lot of precedent for the UCL injury. So again, it's a shame, but hopefully in the long run, I mean, I don't like injuries at all, but hopefully by the end of the season, we look at our draft position, we can say that this season was good for the Raptors for the long run. But what do you make of this situation? What do you make of the injury? Give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Again, I wish I could have waited a bit longer to get the full timetable for the injury. Speaking of injury, that just didn't materialize, and it is what it is. So thank you so much for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more content from Amateur Sports, all about the Raptors on this channel. Check out the merch. We got the hats in white. It's a black version as well, and I'm rocking the shirt as well. $35 for the shirt, $50 for the hat. Send me a message with the link that is pinned in the description there, and I'll see you again next time for another video.